In the far northern region in 1857, a Danish ship on an expedition to the North Pole became trapped in the icy waters of Antarctica. One of the crew reported that they could not continue the journey because the men were starving and exhausted. However, Captain Anderson decided to keep trying to free the ship stuck in the ice before it froze any harder. At night, they heard an explosion not far from the ship. In the distance, they saw glowing embers at the site where the blast occurred. They went to investigate the source of the explosion and found Victor Frankenstein badly injured. Suddenly, a roar echoed from afar, startling everyone. They decided to bring him back to the ship for treatment. Soon after, a large figure dressed in black appeared. Captain Anderson ordered his crew to open fire. However, the creature was immune to bullets and rose as if unhurt. Captain Anderson quickly ordered his men to get back on the ship. He asked Victor what kind of creature had attacked them. Before Victor could answer, the creature demanded that they hand Victor over to him. The crew immediately fired their shotguns, knocking the creature off the ship. However, the monster was still alive and rose again. It kept trying to reach Victor, even using its strength to try to overturn the massive ship. Since bullets couldn't kill it, Captain Anderson shot the ice beneath it to sink the creature. Sometime later, Victor regained consciousness. He revealed that the creature was his creation. The monster could not die and would keep chasing them until Victor was handed over. Then Victor told everything to Captain Anderson. Victor was the eldest son of a baron who was also a renowned surgeon. His mother was a noblewoman who was pregnant at the time. Victor often heard his father, who was rarely home, arguing with his mother whenever he returned. His father had a strong ambition to raise Victor strictly so that he would become a doctor like him. One day, Victor's mother went into labor. Victor panicked and immediately called for his father. Although his mother was reluctant, she was eventually taken to the delivery room by his father. However, she did not survive after giving birth to their second child. Her death was a heavy blow to Victor, as she was the only one truly close to him. Victor mourned her passing as if his entire universe had been torn apart. A few years later, Victor's younger brother William grew up full of joy and smiles. Their father's affection toward William and his constant presence for him made Victor feel jealous. Meanwhile, knowing that his mother had died at the hands of his father, a renowned surgeon, left Victor disappointed and bitter. Because of that, Victor became determined to become a surgeon who could control life and death, surpassing even his father's power. After their father's death, Victor and William lived separate lives. Decades later, Victor finally became a brilliant surgeon. He presented the results of his experiment before the professors at the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. In his presentation, he claimed that mankind could not only delay death, but actually stop it entirely. Victor demonstrated that he could reanimate pieces of a corpse by connecting all the nerves, muscles, and ligaments. However, the professors deemed his work a fraud, evil, vile, and immoral. They believed that it is God who gives life, and only God who has the right to take it away. Meanwhile, Victor saw God as incompetent and vowed to fix his mistakes. After that, Victor met Heinrich, a military surgeon who was also an arms dealer. Heinrich brought a letter of recommendation from William, Victor's younger brother. He also mentioned that William was soon to marry his niece, Elizabeth. After witnessing Victor's presentation, Heinrich became interested in his experiment and offered a partnership. He also promised unlimited resources to support Victor's research. After telling Heinrich he would consider the offer, Victor finally reunited with his brother William after many years apart. William also introduced his fiancée, Lady Elizabeth. A few weeks later, they went to an abandoned tower that would serve as the site for the experiment. After inspecting the interior, Victor asked William to help him build a laboratory inside the tower, and every instrument used had to meet Victor's specifications. The experimental subjects were also personally selected by Victor from the bodies of criminals sentenced to death. While William was busy setting up the laboratory equipment, Victor spent his time with Elizabeth. Victor began to feel drawn to the life he shared with Elizabeth, rather than constantly wrestling with death through his experiments. Heinrich, noticing this, warned that his unlimited funding would soon come to an end. He believed Victor's experiment was progressing far too slowly. As Victor refocused on his work, Elizabeth came to visit him in the laboratory. He confessed his feelings to her, and to his surprise, she felt the same way. However, because they held different views on life, the feelings between them had to be buried deep within. In his desperation after repeated failures, Victor finally discovered the key and immediately tested it on his experimental subject. He began collecting and selecting the corpses of soldiers who had fallen on the battlefield. He brought them into his laboratory and dissected the parts that were still intact. Then, he reassembled those pieces into a single, complete body. Finally, Victor used electrical currents through the lymphatic system to generate energy for the heart and brain. Victor noticed a raging storm and planned to use lightning as his source of energy. He called Heinrich to begin immediately, but was shocked to learn that Heinrich was dying of syphilis. This was the real reason why Heinrich had been pushing Victor's experiment so urgently. He begged Victor to transfer his mind into a new body, but Victor refused. Even when Heinrich offered him everything, including Elizabeth, Victor still rejected him, knowing Heinrich's entire body was already consumed by the disease. Heinrich attempted to sabotage the experiment, but accidentally fell from the top of the tower, dying instantly. After examining Heinrich's corpse, Victor decided to proceed with his experiment. Lightning began to strike violently across the dark night sky. After seeing no reaction from the experiment subject, Victor assumed his experiment had failed. The next morning, he woke up to find that the creature he created was alive. Like a newborn child, the creature knew nothing and couldn't speak. Weeks passed, and Victor grew exhausted taking care of it. There was no progress. The creature could only say Victor's name. Victor became restless as the creature grew harder to control, especially after witnessing its unnatural strength and rapid regeneration. In the end, Victor decided to chain it, fearing the creature could no longer be contained. Some time later, Elizabeth and William came to visit, worried after hearing no news from Heinrich. Victor kept Heinrich's death a secret and invited them to see the documentation of his experiment. Meanwhile, Elizabeth heard strange noises coming from the basement. When she went down to check, she found the creature chained and slowly approached it. Elizabeth's gentle presence calmed the creature, like a mother soothing her child. She felt pity for it, thinking it was just a patient, but Victor explained that he was the one who gave it life. Victor went on to explain that the creature possessed immense strength and rapid regeneration, and that he had to chain it for everyone's safety. As Victor watched Elizabeth show compassion toward the creature, jealousy began to grow inside him. That night, Elizabeth secretly visited the creature again in the basement. Her gentleness and kindness calmed the creature, making it obedient and peaceful. Even when Elizabeth left, the creature, who could previously only say Victor, managed to speak her name. When Victor found out, he immediately forbade Elizabeth from approaching the creature again. He believed the creature was nothing more than a failed creation, lacking intelligence, but Elizabeth argued that the creature was a pure spirit, more innocent than any human, like a newborn child. Victor, who had feelings for Elizabeth, grew jealous after hearing her words. Elizabeth then left, telling Victor that he was the real monster for not understanding his own creation. Driven by jealousy, Victor became increasingly violent toward the creature. He struck the creature repeatedly until it finally grew angry and revealed its strength. The next day, Victor showed William Heinrich's corpse and lied, saying that the creature had killed him. He asked William to find an excuse to take Elizabeth away from the tower. Not long after, William and Elizabeth left the place. Meanwhile, Victor planned to destroy his entire laboratory by setting it ablaze. Overwhelmed by failure and jealousy, Victor ignited the flames, knowing that the creature could now speak the name Elizabeth. Back Back in the present, the creature emerged from the icy sea. He managed to climb aboard the ship and came face to face with Victor and Captain Anderson. Upon realizing that Victor had told the story from his own point of view, the creature began to recount the same story from his own perspective. This was what happened before the explosion. He then wandered through the forest and was shot by a group of hunters. The creature fled and took shelter in a nearby farmhouse. The next morning, the owner of the house, who turned out to be the hunter who shot him, arrived. Still terrified, the creature hid from them. Every day, the creature watched an old blind man teaching his granddaughter how to read. Secretly, he helped the family by gathering firewood and building a pen for their sheep. The family grew fond of the creature and believed he was a spirit guarding the forest. One day, a pack of wolves came to hunt the family's sheep. The creature witnessed how the wolves killed the sheep and how humans killed the wolves. He realized that neither the wolves nor the humans hated each other. It was simply the way the world worked. Eventually, the family decided to leave before the harsh winter arrived. The old man chose to stay behind, living alone. Although afraid of being rejected, the creature gathered the courage to approach the old man. To his surprise, the old man welcomed the creature warmly. From that day on, they became friends. The old man began teaching the creature how to read and speak fluently. The first book he read was the story of Adam and Eve. Day by day, time passed peacefully. When the creature confessed that there was one name echoing endlessly in his mind, Victor, the old man advised him to find that person, believing it would help him discover who he truly was. The creature decided to return to Victor's laboratory, where he found the experiment notes and a letter from Victor containing his home address. But when he returned to the farm, the creature discovered that the old man had been attacked by a pack of wolves. Overcome with rage and grief, the creature slaughtered the wolves brutally. The creature said that he had finally learned the truth about his origins. He was nothing more than a heap of trash, born from the remains of corpses, a nobody, a child of the morgue. But before drawing his last breath, the old man told the creature that he was kind and his friend. Suddenly, hunters arrived and misunderstood the scene. That night, the creature lived on, consumed by grief and rage. He grew envious of humans, for death was their cure for pain, a cure that had been stolen from him by Victor. The creature swore he would seek vengeance on his creator, Victor Frankenstein. The creature decided to appear on the day of William's wedding. In his room, Victor was shocked to see the creature still alive, standing right before him. When Victor asked what he wanted, the creature said he wished for Victor to create another being like him, someone to be his companion. The creature could not die and did not want to live alone for eternity. But Victor, who saw the creature as an evil monster, refused his request outright. Denied the love he longed for, the creature unleashed his rage.
Infinite!
Elizabeth and the guests heard a commotion coming from Victor's room. When she went to check, Elizabeth was shocked to see the creature still alive. Moved by pity, Elizabeth embraced the creature, rekindling Victor's jealousy once again. In a fit of rage, Victor tried to shoot the creature, but Elizabeth stepped in front of the bullet. When William arrived, Victor lied once again, claiming that the creature had attacked Elizabeth. William, dying, refused Victor's help and admitted he had always been afraid of him. With his final breath, he told Victor that he was the real monster. Meanwhile, the creature carried Elizabeth barely alive into a cave, where she confessed her love to him before taking her last breath. Victor then came to the cave to hunt down the creature. He was shocked to find Elizabeth's lifeless body lying there. The creature appeared behind him and attacked, breaking Victor's nose. It warned Victor that now it would return every pain he had caused. The creature fled, hunted by Victor through forests, mountains, and frozen wastelands. One night, Victor saw the creature in the distance and shot at it as it approached his tent. But from behind, the creature grabbed him and dragged him out. Noticing the dynamite Victor carried, the creature told him to light it if he truly believed it could kill him. After the explosion, the creature's body regenerated and healed completely, while Victor was left covered in wounds with his leg broken.
Here we are.
In the end, Victor apologized and held the creature's hand. He gently stroked the creature's head and called him his son. Before taking his final breath, Victor asked the creature to keep living his life. As a farewell, Victor asked the creature to speak his name, just as he did at the beginning of his life, when the word Victor was the entire world to the creature.
Victor, I forgive you.
Afterwards, the ship's crew was ordered by Captain Anderson to make way for the creature. Before leaving, the creature helped them push the ship out of the ice. Captain Anderson then commanded the ship to turn back and head home. That was the emotional tale of Victor and the creature. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling tales.